Hello, everyone. Today is January 30th, 2023, and I have an exciting video today. A lot has happened in the past week. A lot of news around Pfizer and their directed evolution research, aka gain of function, aka bioweapon development. There was a story that broke last week with Project Veritas, and right now it is being blacked out from all mainstream media outlets, with the exception of maybe the New York Post. But there has been nothing but media silence on this. You really have to go to alternative sources and sites in order to find out anything about this. The video has since been removed from YouTube. It's been Project Veritas's most viewed video in their entire decade-long history, with I believe over 20 million views, 30 million views so far. But it has been yanked down from YouTube, but you can still go onto Twitter, and if you just go to search directed evolution, you'll be able to see the video in its entirety here. So this is the undercover video. Oh, looked like one just disappeared right there. Here's the undercover video. This is with a high-ranking Pfizer employee. He directs mRNA research and was caught on undercover video admitting that they are conducting or looking at conducting this type of dangerous and potentially very deadly research. So you can see this undercover video in its entirety, and then you can see the actual confrontation video where James O'Keefe goes and tells this gentleman that he's been caught in undercover camera, and he begins to lose his mind, freak out, assault the camera crew, damage their property, throwing the iPad. It's actually really funny to see the way this coward reacts. And then we have O'Keefe, who did a video on Twitter over the weekend after YouTube yanked down the video. But again, you can go here on Twitter and see everything everything you need to know about this breaking news story, which every person, especially those that have taken this experimental medication, should go and watch. There is a big scam, a lot of fraud, and a lot of cover-up going on that these people in the United States and abroad throughout the world need to know. And we need to hold these companies accountable. And so the purpose of this video was to look at some of the financial interests within this company. So you can see that we're here on Yahoo Finance. We're looking at their stock, and you can see just in the last day, it's begun to take a little bit of a tumble. And in the last 5 days since the story broke last week, I think it was around Wednesday this time, it just started plummeting. And obviously the reason for that is because smart money investors who are seeing this story break realize that this company may be in a lot of trouble. They've begun doing their own damage control, releasing a press release Friday night at around 11 p.m. Eastern time, admitting that they're doing this type of research and then contradicting themselves, saying that they're not. And the press release was really quite ridiculous. But I think they are in turmoil right now, and smart money investors are beginning to pull out of this stock, as they should. And as I mentioned, the point of this video is to show some of the different investors and funds inside this company. And so if you recognize something here, maybe it's your Roth IRA, your 401k, maybe one of your money managers, your firms are involved in funding this company and you don't want to be associated with it, I recommend you call them up and say, hey, did you hear about this story? I don't want my money involved in this company anymore. Did you hear what they're doing? It's total lunacy. And so we can see that on the large filer side, your typical villains that are invested in most of these big pharma companies, all the big tech and big media companies, BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street. These are also massive, massive crooks. And I'm going to be very careful with what I say in this video. I've already gotten, I think, 1 or 2 strikes on this channel And one of them was somewhat related to exposing the sort of financial interest behind these companies. So I'm going to be very careful with what I say and try to just give you unbiased view at what's going on here, why it's important, and why there could be conflicts of interest. Like I already see, you can see New York State Teachers Retirement System has over 6.7 million shares in Pfizer New York, who was very pro vaccine mandate over the last few years. I think it would be a conflict of interest that their teachers' retirement fund would be so heavily invested in this company while at the same time mandating these products for kids to go to school and to enter businesses and establishments. That's pretty disgusting. So I'm not going to go through all these. I have this drop down view into 100. It does take a little bit to populate this data and cycle through each page. So I have 100 different funds here that you can see. There are 48 different pages, so over 4,800 different institutional funds inside of Pfizer. I'm not going to go through each one, or this would be a 2-hour video. But if there are any that you see that I'm clicking through that you want me to further investigate, it's as simple as letting me know in the comment section below, and then I can just click on each of these funds and look directly in them. So this is the New York Teachers Retirement System Fund. We can see all the different companies that they're invested in as well. And I can do this with any company or with any investor, and we can see everything they're invested in. But for now, we're going to go back to the Pfizer page here, which we are. You can see the company here. You can see their ticker symbol. You can see their phone number and their address. I recommend you stop by en masse and let them know what your thoughts are on their deadly business practices. And so I thought this was actually kind of funny earlier. See if I can find it. Yeah, what a great business model, huh? Create the problem, spread the fear. They have sponsors of all of these companies. If you haven't already seen the montage of these sponsored by Pfizer on all these stations, sell the solution and then profit. I mean, brilliant business model. Wish I would have thought of it. And so we're going to go ahead and click through here. We can see all the different funds inside, from Fifth Third Bancorp, Oregon Public Employees Retirement Fund. That's funny because I'm pretty sure Oregon was another one that was pretty pro mandate and pro having this given to children in order to go to school or to enter establishments. A lot of these more Democratic or liberal states were for mandating these. So it'd be interesting to click through and see how many states funds are invested in these companies and what else. So here, State of Alaska Department of Revenue, Boston Financial Management. And if you've been in the capital market space, some of these firms may be familiar to you. Some of them may not be. But there are really a lot of them. So I'm just going to kind of click through. I'm going to go ahead and edit out sections where it's loading this data, because it does take a second to populate. And so I will just be scrolling down slowly down through a few of these. And if any of them you want more information on, let me know again in the comment section. Carnegie Capital Asset Management, Mass Mutual Trust, Stratos Wealth, JP Marvel Investment, Sigma Planning, Farmers Trust. And so I have this filtered, not sure if I mentioned, as of Q3, anybody who's filed as of Q3. Never heard of this one. Asinagon Asset Management, 12 million shares. Looks like they've picked up quite a few since Q2. Continued to buy. Be interesting to see who they are. And I can deep dive on any of these funds. I can click into them. We can do a Google search. We can look at their executive leadership. I mean, we can go as far down the rabbit hole as we need to kind of expose who these decision makers are in directing this money for these funds, funneling it into these pharma companies. All right, now we're on page 2. And as I mentioned, if you see any funds here that you want more information on, you want me to do a deeper dive on, please let me know. If you want to get involved somehow analyzing this data, I think it could be very powerful. I've yet to put the pieces together on how we could use this, but I think a lot of it is going to be in the knowledge of knowing who these funds are, knowing maybe if you have money with these funds, and figuring out how we can collectively divest our money from these companies, as is the case with places like Florida and Louisiana, who have begun divesting their state funds, their state pensions, from companies like BlackRock, who are enabling these ESG and woke policies. I think the same can be done with these pharmaceutical companies or whatever companies we think don't have our best interests at heart. We need to hit them where it hurts, where the money is. And so maybe I will make a video at some point that goes through all 4,800 funds here. It will just take some time because as I click from Rothschild Investment Corp, Kovitz Investment Corp. So as I click through each one of these pages, it takes a little bit to populate the data. And it will be even more interesting to see when Q4 data becomes available, when those filings are available to look at what's changed since Q3, if they've lost more money in the last quarter. Sequoia, Hennessy Advisors, Stratos Wealth. And so if you have money with any of these funds right here, I would recommend calling them up and giving them a piece of your mind, telling them to divest your funds from this company, because I wouldn't want to be affiliated with this company or any of these pharma companies based on their crimes against humanity. People's Financial Services, Eastern Bank, Boston Trust, Perkins Coal. So I'm going to click through to the next one. All right, here we go. We are on page 3. So we're getting down to the smaller ownership positions here. 83,000 shares. So we can see these are smaller firms or smaller investments in the company, but still, I mean, the stock's trading at 43. I mean, that's a lot of money we're talking about here. Town and Country Bank and Trust, First Banker, Chicago Capital, Bees Fulmer Investment Management. Who would ever thought there was so many money managers? Stillwater, Chicago Trust, New England Research and Management, Merit Financial, Bridgewater, Sycamore Asset Management. So go ahead and comment below the firm that you have your funds in, if you're an investor, or if you want me to look into any of these particularly. We can deep dive into any of these. All I have to do is click and it'll take me to their page and show me everything else that they are invested in. Maybe some other shady companies that you don't align yourself with morally and ethically. Humankind Investments. Oh, they're doing this for humankind, investing in Pfizer. Ridgecrest, New Jersey State Employees Deferred Compensation Plan. Let me know, are you from New Jersey? What was the vax mandate like there? Be interesting to see. Did you have to show one passport to go to work? Did you know that your compensation plan was being invested in this company? And maybe they were pushing these things because they have direct financial interests in the company. And so why not make it mandatory for everyone to go to work, to go to school, when you could profit greatly from it? I mean, everyone's out to make a buck, right? Access Financial, Bluefin. I mean, there are just so many. I mean, this company has been around for a long, long time. They have made, tons of other medications and products outside of these experimental mRNA products, which we have yet to see the full extent of potential adverse events, which could take up to 10 years, maybe more. We won't know until the time comes. So for those of you who fell victim to this scam and to this fraud, I would advise getting legal counsel. I would advise speaking to your doctors and finding out how you can detox yourself of these products. Not sure if you have seen the documentary Died Suddenly, but a lot of this data we're now seeing in the past 6 months and years coming from morticians. It's coming from insurance companies who are seeing catastrophic rise in all death mortality cases. And so something very sinister is going on here. And I think the smarter money managers, the smarter money investors have already begun distancing themselves, removing themselves from these companies. All right, I think we are on page 5 or 6 here. Well, it looks like some of these positions are still relatively large, so maybe we're not nearing the end of the positions. So I'm just going to scroll through a few more pages. So if you're watching this, go ahead and take a look. If there's any of these investment funds you want me to investigate more, Bigelow Investments, Wealth Alliance Advisory, Home Federal Bank of Tennessee, West Hampton Capital, North Star Asset Management. And I think it's very important we start taking financial action against these institutions, because that's the only way I think we can win this. They're obviously in bed with our regulatory agencies, with the media, with big tech. They've made it pretty impossible to talk about this in any public forum or any public capacity. You will be silenced, censored, smeared, deplatformed, character assassinated, whatever extent they have to go to silence you, they will do it. And we're dealing with dangerous people in dangerous times. This is, I think, more of a spiritual warfare than anything else. But the last few years has been the biggest psyop that I've seen since 9/11. And so I think the only way we can hurt these people is hitting them in the wallet. So get proactive, do your research, find out where your money's being invested, and set up some phone calls and demand that your money be taken out of these institutions. And in fact, I wouldn't even associate myself with the firm managing this money if I knew this was what they were investing in. So yeah, now it looks like we're getting down to the smaller positions. It would take literally all day to go through here, line by line item, all 4,800 firms. Even longer to deep dive into them individually, look at their executive leadership. I mean, there are just a ton of them. Northwood Financial, Emerald Advisors, Sunburst Financial Group, Winslow Asset Management, Denver Wealth Management. All right, we're going to click on to page 8. All right, here we are on page 8. As I mentioned, get aware, get involved, get active, share these stories with your loved ones or anywhere and everywhere you can. This needs to be heard. I imagine if they just had millions of people start sharing this content, they'd have a hard time moderating it and deplatforming or censoring so many people. So it's very important that you share these stories and get as involved as you very possibly can. Trust Co. of Oklahoma, Five Oceans Advisors. And I think I'm going to stop at page 10 here. Because like I said, it would just take all day. Darwin Wealth Management. Funny. So yeah, as I mentioned, please share, like, subscribe, go and check out the full stories on Twitter or wherever else you can find it, because it's very important that this gets shared and gets acknowledged, and that we hold these institutions accountable, because this is very dangerous what they're doing. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. And I will be coming forward with some more videos. We'll be doing some more deep dives, but these things do take time, and time is short. So thank you.